ProToolers.com.
Mute, pan, LFE, record enable, input monitor, solo, automation mode, send level, send mute, send pan, send LFE, plugin parameters, and plugin bypass controls. Okay, so it gives me much more flexibility when I'm making mixed groups. So let's dive into Pro Tools and actually have a look at some of that stuff. So cues, insert B for your compressors, or your kind of basic stuff, and then you add use insert C, D, and E to add other effects and so on, other plugins. So if I focus one of these channels on deep command and hit gain, you can see what happens. Okay, so I'm editing the plugin and it's following it as I move it around. Okay, so that's my plugin linking, which is very grayed out, and the send pan will follow my main pan. This is really useful when you're setting up cue mixers, when you're setting up sub mixers, and you don't want to have to copy your pan setting. Now, VCA faders, that might seem a strange thing to have on a digital console. So the concept of a VCA fader is you've got effectively a dummy fader which is controlling. So let's go back to Pro Group A, which is the one we just created. And now if I move that VCA up or down, the other faders will follow relatively. If I move the individual faders up or down, they'll follow. See that the VCA fader has its own volume playlist. So what I can do, and again the blue line shows me the result of those two being summed together. At any point I can choose to write that VCA automation to the tracks faders, and that's called coalescing. So I go to my tracks menu, I choose coalesce VCA master automation. It writes those changes to the track and then flaps my VCA playlist neatly with an icon console. For example, I could have real-time automation graphing. That means that when you're moving a fader and you're writing automation, first of all, auto join and auto match. Now the auto join and auto match features were both introduced with Pro Tools 6.9, but they were previously only available Pro Tools into preview mode. What I do is I can touch any parameter, D command, that means I isolate the parameter. So it means that any automation which is existing on that parameter is ignored, and I can listen to what my function. So what latch right and stop allows me to do is to touch a fader or any parameter which is currently in latch mode while the transport is stopped. Automation. Before Pro Tools 7.2, you could write trim automation, and you maybe have automation already on a track. You put it into trim, and you move the fader up or down, and it.
Gonna make you shake it, gonna make you do it, till it breaks, call it loose again.
Okay, so this is what the end result is. I've got 3 lines now on my window. So I don't know if you can all see that. Just make that slightly bigger so you can see. So the black line shows me the track's automation data as it was previously. The yellow line shows me the trim moves that I've just done. And the blue line in the middle shows me the result of a pan default to follow main pan. We've got use absolute pan linking, suppress automation write to warnings is a nice one. I just want to point out just one of these here as well. Plugin controls default to auto enabled. What this means is that every time you insert a plugin, all the parameters are ready enabled for automation. So you don't have to go in and manually choose to do it. So basically the whole console is ready to automate as soon as you're ready to do it. Just put the track into latch, trim automation. Now anyone who's used to working with video in Pro Tools will know the way that we handle video tracks has always been quite different to the way that we handle audio tracks. But we've changed all of that. So now you treat video tracks in pretty much the same way that you treat audio tracks. If you want to create a video track, you go to the new tracks menu and choose video track. If you want lots of video tracks, you choose, in this case, exactly the same way that you import audio into the session. Very easy. I can drag my video in from the browser, from the region list, from the desktop, straight to a track. And once the video is on the track, if it's Avid video, you're available with the new Avid software, which is going to be coming out later this year. So if the Avid editor chooses this option, it actually says in the Avid editor export to hey, we've got at least one there, cool. Okay, if we open up our universe window, okay, that doesn't look very exciting, does it? Because it's a QuickTime movie, and so there's only one region. So if I change this to the Avid video track, there you go, that's a bit more interesting. So you can see all of my scenes are shown in my video universe. What I've done already, I've color coded the scenes. So if I want to just select the first scene, just put the tool, just select that. Very, very easy. So I say it makes a very, very easy navigation when you're working with Avid Video. Okay, let's shut that and let's go back to my QuickTime movie track. Okay. You see what I did there? I just resized that QuickTime window. Did you notice?
I think so. Let me have a look at this.
Looping off frame boundaries. This is something which was a limitation before when you're working with Avid Video. The first one is a good one if you're, again, any you people working with QuickTime movies and you've got a V10 or a Mojo. So previously, if you wanted to play that video back, you would have to go to Media Station and convert it and then bring it back into Pro Tools. We can now play QuickTime movies back directly through V10 or through Mojo with no conversion. We can also, because I've got an awful lot of Mac users as well who haven't had a right mouse click, but all Macs now ship with 2-button mice, so hey, everyone's got one. So we've got lots of right-click functionality in Pro Tools. So if we, just to show you a couple of cool ones, and this is something you can experiment. As soon as you get your copy of Pro Tools 7.2, buy yourself a 2-button mouse and go around right-clicking and see what happens. So if I right-click on a region, I can select cut, copy, paste, clear, I can choose matching takes, I can separate and so on. Snap to next region, snap to previous region, lots of cool things. So if you're not very good at remembering keyboard shortcuts, this is your way around that. You just use your right mouse click and hope that it brings up the input, output, bus paths without going to the I/O setup. So previously, if I had a bus called bus 1 and I wanted to rename it to something a bit more usable, I'd have to go to I/O setup, find it, rename it, type it in. Now if I right-click, nudge that fade in and out, I can grab the region and move it, and you can see what happens as I'm in shuffle mode. Oops. I can move the region and it's separated the crossfade. You can see, we'll just put that back again, it intelligently draws fade in and fade out to replace that crossfade, or I can move it that way. Very easy. I could also grab the crossfade itself, move it up or down, or nudge it up or down. Very, very easy. And finally, if I put my cursor in the middle of the crossfade, separate region, what it will do, it will calculate a fade in and fade out to replace my crossfade. To the previous seminar that we had earlier on today, and it's running again tomorrow, which shows the Avid workflow for working in 5.1. You'll have seen that we've included this field recorder workflow into